Okay, great. So now I'm live. So, hello everyone, greetings, family. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining me on the planet. My name is June Allen, and I'm a racial trauma therapist, and I am the founder of the Art of Greatness at juneallen.net. So, thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Saturday. I don't normally do my live streams on a Saturday, however, yeah, I'm kind of aware that obviously it's Mother's Day in the UK tomorrow, and I haven't done a live stream this week, and I really wanted to have this conversation. I've kind of been thinking about it for a while, whether to do something like that or not, because normally the work that I do, when I talk about the mother wound, I normally talk about it within the context of um, the child, the wounded daughter. I normally talk about it, and I normally speak, to the wounded daughter. But it's been on my heart to kind of have a conversation with the mothers, okay? The mothers that want to do better, the mothers that realize that they may have harmed their daughters. And, it makes sense for me at some point to have a conversation with the mothers, and I've never done that before. Have a conversation with the mothers. So today I am having that conversation. Okay. So I'm going to set a few ground rules. Okay, first before I kind of get into this. If you are a mother who knows that you've harmed your daughter and you are willing to do the work, maybe you've already started therapy, maybe your children are young and you've just started doing this work and you're willing and open to kind of have a to think about, how do you begin to repair that conversation, then this is for you. Okay, and you can share this live stream with those mothers, okay, that want to do this work, that are scared of being parents. I know that I was really scared about being a parent, that really want some guidelines about how they can begin to do this work. This is really for mothers as well, or for mothers that have got adult children. Okay, it's not really for mothers that have got really young children, because if you're doing your own work, then that's going to have an impact on your young children anyway by default. This is for mothers that have got adult children. Maybe their adult children are estranged from them. Maybe their adult children are distant. The relationship is broken down. But the mother realizes that she really wants some guidance as to what to do. Okay, this live stream is for you. If your mum is defensive, if your mum is shut down, she's not interested, she can't have the conversation. This is not for that mother, because you have to be willing and open, okay, to think about doing this work. If there's no crack at all that's open, then this live stream is not for you. So, respectfully, you need to click out of this live stream if you're that parent. If you're that mother that's going to be really defensive and all the rest of it, this live stream is not for you, because I'm not going to be talking to people in my inbox. I'm not going to be responding to anyone in my inbox that's going to come and be saying this, that, and the other. Okay, if there is a part of you that knows that you've done something wrong, okay, and you want support around what to do next, then this live stream is for you. Okay, this is not about shaming anybody. I'm not going to be doing this to shame any mothers. I'm not doing this to make you feel bad about yourself or anything like that. This is about understanding that racism and oppression has done a number on us, okay, as a community, and it's about us taking responsibility, because before we can move forward with any type of healing, we have to kind of put the racism and the oppression, we have to put that aside for 1 minute. Okay, we have to put that aside for 1 minute so that we can really start to have the honest conversation, okay, about the relationship between mother and daughter. Okay, we have to leave everything else aside for now. That is relevant, it gives context, but for this conversation, it's about the mother and the daughter. Okay, so those are some of the ground rules that are really, really important for us to think about. So if you're still with me, okay, and you want to listen to the rest of this live stream, I applaud you, okay, for staying. I applaud you for having the courage to stay and have this conversation, okay? If there's anything that I say that you don't understand or you want me to expand on, you can either drop a note in the comments, or you can send me a DM, okay? And I'm happy to answer the question. Okay, I'm happy to explore. What I'm going to be doing in this session as well is I'm going to be sharing some of the themes that come up in therapy with clients that I work with that are working through this mother wound stuff. I'll be sharing some of my personal life experience as well. For those of you that have been following me for a long time, you know that I've had a very complicated with my own mother as well, which is why this work is so passionate and so is so important for me as well. It's personal as well as professional. So yeah, so let's kind of move on. And if you want any more information about anything that I've talked about today, then you can find out some more information on my website. Okay, I've got a free mother wound ebook that I've created. Okay, and it's got loads of stuff in there about Mother's Day, and Mother's Day is tomorrow in the UK. There's loads of journal prompts. There's a huge diagram that I've created that helps you to understand the intersectional links between oppression and racism and all of that, and also how that impacts the mother-daughter relationships. So there's a lot of great stuff in there. There's some books as well in there that I've suggested that you can read. So yeah, so you can click the link in my bio, go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. Thank you so much, everyone who's joined so far. I see this is going to be a popular live stream. I've already seen quite a few people joining. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. So, you know, this message needs to be talked about. Right, so let's get into the content. So first and foremost, okay, you have to acknowledge the impact of your behavior. Okay, now when I say that, what normally the response that normally comes back is, well, that wasn't my intention. You know, your mum's got your own, the mum's got her own traumas and all the rest of it. The mum is also a victim of racism, oppression, all that. We know all of that. Okay, and even though it wasn't your intention, okay, even though it wasn't your intention to harm your child, okay, the impact is still real. Okay, intentions and impact are two different things. They're two separate things. Okay, you might not have wanted we know that you didn't wake up one morning when you were pregnant and go, oh, I'm gonna be mean to my child. I'm gonna destroy the relationship with my child. Nobody wakes up and has that conversation with themselves and want to be intentional about harming the relationship that you have with your child. However, because we live in a system of oppression, because there's a history of intergenerational trauma, okay, racial trauma, and all the other traumas that we experience, it's inevitable that stuff is going to impact the relationship that you have with your child. So even though your intention was to try and be, to be the best mother that you could, you can still have been the best mother that you could and still have impacted your child and still have harmed your child in some way. Okay, so you have to acknowledge the impact. Okay, you have to acknowledge the impact of your behavior. There's this thing in our community as well, and this is still something that I talk about so much with clients as well. How people just accept that violence towards our children is okay. It's not okay. And I know that that might make you feel some sort of type of way. It might trigger shame in you. It might be upset. Not all shame is bad shame. Sometimes there is such thing as healthy shame. Healthy shame tells us when a boundary has been crossed. And if you feel ashamed about the fact that you've harmed your daughter by putting your hands on your child, that's a healthy shame. Okay? That's a healthy shame. And you need to think about that. And it's really, I want you to ask yourself this question. Okay? When you think about how you've treated your child, okay, if your partner has treated you in the same way as you treated your child, would you accept it? Okay, if you those of you that put your hands on your child, if your partner or your husband or somebody other family put their hands on you the way you put your hands on your child, would you accept it? No, you wouldn't accept it. You would not accept it. Okay, children are sacred beings. And we know that stuff comes from, in a lot of cases for us, a lot of that stuff comes from the plantation. Massa did it to us. Okay? Massa did it to us. So we do it to each other. That's what we learned. And we have to unlearn it. We have to unlearn it. We have to recognize the impact that it has on our children, and we have to unlearn that stuff, and we need to take responsibility for the impact that it has on our children. It breaks the trust. You don't get respect either. That you get, all you do is you get a child that fears the parent. Putting your hands on a child does not make them respect you. It makes them fear you. And that's two different things. That's two different things. You have to own the impact that your behavior has on your child. Okay? You have to own the impact that it has on your child. The second thing, number two, you have to take responsibility. Okay? And this is the thing that is keeping a lot of the relationships fractured and broken and estranged. The thing that I hear most in session with clients, with black women, is that they don't want to continue to have a relationship with the parent, okay, because the parent doesn't want to take responsibility for what they did. They gaslight them. They shame them. They think that because they're older than them, that they somehow have the right to behave the way that they behaved, and they don't want to take any responsibility. They justify it away, their behavior. They don't want to take any responsibility. And I think the reason why they don't want to take responsibility a lot of times is because they feel ashamed about what they've done. They feel ashamed about what they've done, okay? And you don't want to take ownership of it. If you want the relationship with your daughter to improve, you have to take responsibility. Okay? You broke the trust and you have to earn it back. Point blank period. You broke the trust as the carer and you have to earn it back. You don't automatically get that respect, and you don't automatically get you don't automatically get a relationship with your daughter just because you're the mum or you're the older person. You're not entitled to a relationship with your adult child. You're not entitled to that. Okay? You're not entitled to a relationship with her, and you're not entitled to a relationship with her children either. I see a lot of grandparents that can get upset because that they can't see the grandchildren. If your adult child feels unsafe around you, she is within her rights to also protect her children from you, especially if you haven't taken responsibility, especially if you're not willing to do your own work, especially if you're not acknowledging the impact. You are not entitled to a relationship with your daughter. She doesn't have to have a relationship with you if she doesn't want to, if she doesn't feel safe. You're not entitled to that relationship. And I know what I'm saying is going to be hard for you to hear. Okay? But if you want a relationship with your adult child, you have to be willing to do your own work. There's a generation of us now, okay, that are going to therapy, that are doing the things that we recognize that there are things that didn't sit right with us. And as adults, therapy helps with a lot of the things that I do with my clients in session around this topic is I help them find their own voice. A lot of them, when they're in the relationship with their mothers, the dynamic is definitely parent-child. And when I say parent-child, I mean adult 5-year-old. Because the mothers are not allowing their children to be adults in the relationship because they don't want to lose control in the relationship. So they don't. So the adult child doesn't feel like an adult in the relationship. They feel like they can't say what they think. They can't say what they feel. They're not allowed to set boundaries, and they feel upset. They're upset. They're hurt. They're hurt. The adult children are hurt, and they need to be able to feel safe. They need to be able to feel safe in the relationship in order for it to move forward. And if you're not allowing your adult child to say what she thinks and to say what she feels, I'm not talking about her being disrespectful, but she deserves to have to speak up for herself. And if you're exhibiting behaviors that are unhealthy, if you're being rude to her, if you're calling her out of her name, if you put your hands on her, she doesn't trust you. And she has a right to say, actually, when you do X, I feel Y. when you do A, I want to go and do B because it's unsafe. Okay? Because it's unsafe. You have to take responsibility, okay, for the impact that your behavior has had on your adult child. Even though that person is grown up and is an adult now, maybe they've got their own families and all the rest of it, okay, that adult daughter of yours is still hurting. The adult daughter of yours is still going to be hurting. Okay? If your child has not had a place to process her emotions, to really unpack what's happened, she's going to be holding all of that. And let me just say this as well. Quite often, this is an intergenerational pattern that's happened. Okay, you as the mother have probably got your own mother wound. You've probably got your own hurt that's been unhealed from the relationship with your own mother. Something that I recognise and I hear all the time is that quite often there's a generational line. There's a line, there's a pattern of dysfunction and hurt and betrayal and loads of things that have been passed down from mother to grandmother to great grandmother, and it's got all the way back to the plantation. That hurt has never been resolved, so it just gets passed down. So part of you healing the relationship with your daughter, first and foremost, is really looking at your own mother wound, doing your own mother wound work as well. If you go to my website, you can download my Healing the Black Mother Wound workbook. It's a free ebook, okay? And it gives you some introductory journal prompts. There's book suggestions in there. There's some affirmations. There's reflections about Mother's Day tomorrow. Yeah, there's loads of different things in there where you can begin to start to unpack and just reflect on and explore your relationship with your own mother. But even though you've had that, even though you're also a wounded daughter yourself, okay, if we are going to break these patterns, you have to take responsibility for your part in the breakdown of the relationship with your adult daughter. Okay? Although you are a wounded child, you are also a wounded daughter yourself. Don't use that as an excuse, or use that as an excuse to not take responsibility for what's happened with the relationship with your daughter. You have to take responsibility for your part in the breakdown of the relationship with your adult daughter. Okay? You have to take responsibility for your part in the breakdown of the relationship with your adult daughter. Okay, there's no getting away from that. You take responsibility for doing your work, your mother wound work, as a separate issue. The relationship with your daughter is something else, and you need to take responsibility for that, for your part in the breakdown of that. Okay, and part of taking responsibility for your part, okay, is you got to learn to apologize. And there's something about, my parents' generation, they don't want to apologize. They think just because they're older that somehow it absolves them of apologizing. It does not absolve you of it. You can still be, and actually you'd probably get more respect from your children if you apologized. Okay, let me say that again. You would probably get more respect from your adult children if you apologized for how you harmed them, whether it was intentional or not. Taking responsibility means you need to apologize for your part in the breakdown of the relationship. It doesn't mean that the adult child probably has her own faults. She might have done her own stuff, okay? But you have to take ownership and apologize for your part in the breakdown of the relationship. And it has to be genuine remorse. Genuine remorse. You have to sit and think, okay? And you have to listen to your adult child, to your adult daughter. You have to listen to her and stop jumping in and stop deflecting and stop trying to talk over her and stop trying to stonewall her and silent treatment. And you need to listen. Okay? If you want to heal the daughter with your adult daughter, you need to keep your mouth closed and you need to listen to her. Because her experience, her emotions, the way that she experiences you is valid. And stop thinking like you're being attacked. You're not being attacked. Okay? You're not being attacked. The reason why you need to listen is because you can't apologize and repair the relationship properly unless you really understand the impact that you've had on the child. This is part of understanding the impact that your behavior has had on your adult child. Is, you got to learn to listen. You got to learn to listen. And you're not listening to respond. You're listening to understand. Okay? You're not listening to respond so that you can jump in and, oh, that's the way it was. Oh, well, this, that, and the other was happening. No, 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 no. You're listening to understand without being defensive. Without being defensive. Okay? You've got to learn to listen with empathy. Okay? You've got to learn to listen with empathy. And it might be, okay, this is going to sting a little bit, what I'm about to say. It might be that your adult child does not want to talk to you right now. Some of the stories that I hear in session, and I'm going to try hard not to get emotional because it upsets me when I think about some of the stories that I've heard. Some of you might have to accept, and this is going to be hard, some of you might have to accept that that child might not want a relationship with you. She might not want to repair nothing with you because of the way that you've behaved. Some of the stories that I've heard, it's not just the violence that they've experienced from the mother, it's the betrayal that other family members have also, abused their children, and the mother has not protected them. The mother has not protected them. And so there's, I work with black women who do not want to, they don't want to repair the relationship because it's too painful. It's too painful. And they don't want to put themselves back into a space, into a situation that is so incredibly excruciatingly painful for them. They don't want to repair it. So if you're that parent, okay, you have to do your grief work. This means you have to do your grief work. You have to accept and respect the fact that your child does not want a relationship with you because of how you've behaved. And this is some of the hard, I know I'm saying some things here that are hard conversations. They're difficult conversations. It's painful for me to even say it. But I feel guided and I feel led to share this stuff because I want you mothers to understand the types of the things that are coming up in session, the things that I work with in session with clients that are so painful for them. And I'm not saying this to shame you. I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. I'm saying these things so that we can begin to heal as a community. And if you're that mother whose adult child does not want to have a relationship with you, this is where you need to do your grief work. You can still own the fact that you've that you've done certain things and understand the impact, but you do your own healing work. You do your own healing work. Because the healing has to be on the child, on the daughter's terms, not on your terms. It has to be done very, very gently. Very, very gently. Because the trust has been broken, and the trust has been broken early on. Maybe that child has never ever trusted you. And you have to earn it back. And sometimes the door might be closed for you to earn it back. because the pain is just too great. The pain is just too much. But here's the other thing as well. What makes it difficult for adult daughters is not just the fact that the relationship is broken down, but it's the unwillingness. That's kind of like another trauma on top of all the trauma that's already happened, is that there's often the unwillingness for the parent to engage in the healing process, or the healing process is kind of hijacked by what you want as the mother. There's two adults in the relationship, okay, and you clinging on to this toxic parent-child dynamic is not going to heal the relationship. You have to be willing to stand there as two big people. You have to accept your adult daughter as an adult person, and you have to be willing to have that conversation. You have to be willing to have that conversation. Okay? Being older than your adult daughter does not make you wiser. Okay? Let me say that again for those in the back. Just because you're older than your adult daughter, it doesn't automatically make you wiser. Okay? It doesn't automatically make you wiser. Hi, Melanie. So Melanie's put, I so wish my mother was able to receive and hear this truth. You know what? In a way, it's probably a good thing that wounded daughters hear this message as well, in a way, because I'm also advocating for I'm also advocating for you all. I'm advocating for all of you, and my own inner child as well. I'm advocating for my own inner child as well. That's why I love doing. That's why I do this work. It's why I do this work. And nobody's really having these difficult conversations. But when black women heal, okay, when black women heal, we heal the world. Okay, when black women heal, we heal the world. This is why I focus so much on the mother wound work. Because when the mother wound work is done, when the mother wound work is popping, when it's happening, I'm telling you, there's so much power behind it. There's so much power behind it, because when we as mothers make the decision that we are going to start breaking those patterns, those toxic family patterns, when we make that decision, okay, it's going to have an impact on how we choose our partners. It's going to have an impact on how we parent. It's going to have an impact on how we treat ourselves. It's going to have an impact on how we show up at work. It's going to have an impact on everything. But we have to start having these honest conversations first and foremost about healing this mother wound. And the mothers out there, okay, you need to be we need to be having these conversations. We need to be having these honest conversations, and these conversations are not easy, and the work is not easy. It's excruciating. It's painful. But if we are going to do this work, this work is also an act of liberation. It's liberation from oppression and racism. It fights back against all of that stuff, because the system does not want us to have healthy relationships. The system wants us to continue in the dysfunction. Okay? The system wants us to continue in the dysfunction because it serves them. If we're broken, okay, we can't have relationships with each other as mother-daughter. We're going to continue to have children. We're going to continue to have children that are going to pass on the patterns, and those relationships are going to continue to be broken. So this is also an act of liberation. Okay? This is also an act of liberation. We need to be doing our individual work. Our individual mother wound work. So if you're in therapy, talk to your therapist about your black mother wound work. If you're in a healing group, ask them to have that conversation. Okay? as part of the Sacred Sister Sanctuary, I have a membership, okay, where the conversation is dominated by the mother wound at the moment, with Mother's Day being tomorrow. I've been having this conversation for the past few weeks, and it's going to continue over the next couple of months. This month, the focus is on mindful motherhood and self-parenting. If you don't have, well, even whether you've got children or not, self-parenting is also important. Okay, but we're also going to be talking about mindful motherhood, and I will be having more conversations about that moving forward. Next month, we're going to be. I'm also going to be talking about grief. We're also going to be talking about inner child healing, justice for your inner black child. A lot of our inner black children haven't got justice because quite often the child's first bully, the child's first experience of harm and violence is from the mother, it's from the parent. And again, I don't say that to shame. I don't say that to shame anybody. But we need to be having these cold hard facts conversations if things are going to change in our community. Okay? If you want to change the relationship with your daughter, your adult daughter, you need to be doing your own work. You're not too old to get a therapy. I don't want to hear that. Okay? Don't want to hear that. You are not too old to go to therapy. Okay? You are not too old to go to therapy. I don't want to hear about, oh, I can't afford therapy and all the rest of it as well, because you can go, you know, if you go to the Batten website, the Black and Asian Therapists Network, well, not even just on Batten, there are organisations that do low cost therapy, okay, and there are even some organisations that might do therapy for free, okay. You can do, you can find, if you want to do it, you'll make a way. Okay? If you want to repair the relationship with your child, you can make a way. Okay? If you want to join my membership is £40 a month. $39.99 a month to join my membership, and we can have these conversations. There is space to have these conversations. Okay? Therapy is going to help you to unpack. It's going to help you to understand. It's going to help you to explore. It's going to help you process. And you need to be doing your own work. You need to take the focus off the relationship with your daughter to a certain extent. Because the relationship that you do with yourself is going to help you improve the relationship that you have with your daughter. Okay? The relationship that you do with yourself is going to impact the relationship that you have with your daughter. You need to do your own work. You need to do your own work. You need to understand the intergenerational patterns that have been passed down through your family. You need to understand those patterns. You can have empathy for those patterns. You can understand those patterns, but you're not going to use those patterns as an excuse not to do the work for yourself and for your child. You're still going to take responsibility. You can still own the patterns that have been passed down in your family and still take ownership for your part in the breakdown of the relationship. You can still do that. Okay? You can do both. Okay? You can do both. The next thing is you need to make a commitment to change. Okay? None of this lip service, none of this, oh yeah, we'll do better. You need to commit to change. And committing to change means doing the work. Okay? True apologies are changed behavior. Okay? Authentic, remorseful apologies are changed behavior. It's not lip service. It's not lip service. Your adult daughter is not going to accept your lip service. Okay? She's not interested in your lip service. She's not going to respect you just from your lip service. We're not interested. Okay? We want to see changed behavior. We want to see your commitment to doing your own work. That's the only way that things are going to change, is by you doing your own work. Your daughter's not going to be interested. She won't trust you. She won't respect you. Okay? She's not going to allow you to come back into her life. She's not going to allow you to engage with the grandchildren. Okay? You're not entitled to a relationship with her or her grandchildren, okay? If you're not doing your own work. If you haven't created a safe space for your adult daughter, she ain't gonna allow, why should she let you have access to her grandchildren? You're not entitled to it. I see so many people on I've seen it on social media. You know, mothers that are estranged are like, oh, well, she won't let me see the grandchildren. She's using them. No, she's not using your grandchildren against you. She's not using your grandchildren against you. You created a space that's unsafe for your adult daughter, so therefore she has a responsibility to protect her children, and you ain't it, unfortunately, right now. Let me say that, and I say that with my chest. Okay? If you haven't created a safe space for your adult daughter, she has a responsibility to protect her children. So you might not be a safe space for her or her children right now. And I know that's probably going to piss a few grandparents off, but I don't care. Okay? I told you at the beginning that this live stream was going to be some difficult conversations. I know that's going to sting, and I know it's probably going to piss a few grandparents off, but this is the raw truth. We are not going to heal as a community if we keep hiding from these conversations, if we're not having the honest conversations about our hurt. We're hurt. A lot of adult daughters are hurt because you've not been able to show up. A lot of adult daughters are hurt because you're telling lies, because you're not being honest with yourself. You're not being honest with yourself about what happened. You've denied you've kind of got amnesia about what happened because it serves you. You've got amnesia about what happened because then you can continue to badmouth your daughter to other family members. That's not going to heal the relationship with your daughter. Your daughter's not going to respect you. If you want your daughter to respect you, you have to come correct. You have to take ownership of your breakdown in the relationship. And you need to listen to what she's got to say. Okay? We have to, I'm going to finish by saying this. Okay? We have to remember that the system of oppression has done a number on us, destroying the black family. Okay? The system has done a number on us in destroying the black family. Okay? So no matter how uncomfortable it is, and how uncomfortable you might feel after watching this live stream, okay, you have to think about that in the back of your head. It's not mother against daughter. The reason why I'm doing this live stream, it's not because I'm trying to, the conversation is not about mother and daughter. It's not between mother and daughter. We need to reframe the narrative and come back together so that we can do it as a form of liberation. There's a bigger, wider conversation. But in order to liberate ourselves as a community, we need to start having these uncomfortable conversations. Okay? We need to start having these uncomfortable conversations. I'm having this conversation with you mothers out of love. And I don't care if you're older than me, okay? I don't care if you're older than me. This conversation needs to be had. I'm saying this to you out of love because I love our people, because I love our community. Okay? Because I want us to heal as a community. And if you're a daughter that is estranged from your mother for any reason, keep doing your work. Keep doing your individual work. Because it might be that sometimes the mothers just can't, they're just not willing to do the work. They're just not willing to do the work. And sometimes you have to love them from a distance. If they're not willing to do the work, if it becomes that unsafe for you to have that conversation with them, You have to let them, sometimes you have to love them from a distance and let them be. And sometimes that's the most compassionate thing that you can do, is to let them be. For whatever reason, they're not, maybe the shame is just too much for them. Maybe the shame is just too much for them, that they don't want to step out of that position of power where they can hold on to, oh, well, I'm the parent, therefore I'm right. In order for us to change and reframe the patterns, that the toxic patterns, the hurt, the abuse, the trauma that we've been in as a community, we have to draw the line. We have to draw the line. This work is important to heal the relationship with yourself as a black woman. It's important, if you can, to heal the relationship with your mother. If you can't heal the relationship with your mother, then you do it through healing the relationship through other black women that are doing this work. Okay? If your mother is not available, you can still heal. You can still heal and do your mother wound work through other black women that are doing this work. That's why my practice is, there's so many black women that I'm working with. Because these conversations need to be had. I myself I've surrounded myself with other black women that are doing the work, that are more experienced than me. I look for black women that have got like elder energy. That's what I look for. And they don't necessarily have to be older than you. They just have to have elder energy. There's a wisdom about them. There's a compassion about them. There's an empathy about them. There's a willingness to be heard. I hear my clients. This is the thing that I think that why I'm so successful, why I get results with my clients, is because I'm empathic. That goes beyond any training or whatever that I've had as a therapist, because I'm empathic, because I hear them and I care about my clients. I care about my clients. I care about what happens to them. I care about how they feel. And I support them. I hear them. I hold space for them. I help them to be seen and heard, where, the mothers were not able to see and hear them for whatever reason. Because of their own shame, because of their own traumas, because of some of them got mental illness. And I know some of that is not necessarily their fault, but there still needs to be a safe space for clients to be able to unpack and process, because there's a lot of hurt, a lot of rage, a lot of shame that needs to be unpacked. And I feel humbled, and I feel so proud of my clients, because my clients have got guts. The clients that I work with have got guts. They come into this space and they put it out there. They are vulnerable. I work with clients that have got children, and they're desperate to not pass on the same things that their mother passed on to them. The pain, the trauma, I work with a lot of women as well that have made a decision not to have children. They're so terrified. They're so terrified of passing on what their mother did to them that they made the decision that they don't want to have children. And that breaks my heart. I respect their decision, and I understand it. I understand it. I also was terrified when I got pregnant. I was like, what am I gonna? And that is what brought me into therapy. That is what brought me into recovery, and that is what keeps me there. I'm not the perfect mother. There are things that I also accept that, I started doing my work when my daughter was 2. My daughter was 2 when I went into recovery, when I went into my when I went to my first therapy session. So I also understand that there are going to be things that I've done imperfectly. But the difference is I'm committed to the repair. It's not just about the trauma or the upset that adult children experience. It's the repair. That is the problem. Because I'm willing to, I'm going to put my thing on the line and say this, that a lot of times it's not even necessarily, obviously the adult children are hurt by what happened to them in childhood, but what hurts even more is when the parent don't want to do the repair work. When the parent does not want to do the repair work, it's like another trauma on top of what they've already been traumatized by. The repair work is everything. The repair work is everything. You taking responsibility, you doing your own work, you educating yourself. That's the repair work. Apologizing sincerely, making an effort to change your behavior, taking ownership for your breakdown in the relationship. Okay? If you don't take anything else from this live stream, okay? If you're a mother that you know that you've harmed your adult daughter, okay? I'm going to leave you with this. You need to take ownership for your part in the breakdown of that relationship. You need to take responsibility for your part in the breakdown of the relationship. Okay? If you're listening, if you watch this live stream, if some of the stuff that I've said in here has resonated and you want to start doing your work, okay? There's a free ebook. Go to heal.juneallen.net. Okay? A free ebook about healing the black mother wound, specifically healing the black mother wound. Okay? That again, that's missed a lot. There's a lot of mother wound work out there, but there's not a lot of people talking about the black mother wound. Okay? This is where my gift is. Okay? We talk specifically about the impact of oppression, racism, and all of that, and how that stuff on the plantations has been passed down and become like a cancer in the relationship between mothers and daughters. Okay, there's a free ebook there's book recommendations in it. There's affirmations. There's some journal prompts. What other thing? There's a diagram about that helps you understand the black mother wound. Okay, it's absolutely free. You can click the link in my bio. Go to heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. That's heal.juneallen.net. If you want to work with me one-to-one, okay, and start your mother wound healing work, again, you can go to the same link. I do have a few spaces open if you want to work with me one-to-one. If you want to work with me in a group capacity in the Sacred Sister Sanctuary, you can also do that. Okay, community is really great. One of the great things that happens in community is you hear other people's stories. You don't feel so isolated. You hear other people's mother wound stories, and it helps people feel connected. Because there's a lot of shame and isolation and guilt that can happen when you're trying to do this stuff on your own. You can't do this stuff on your own. Okay? No matter how difficult and painful and scared you might be to do this work, you can't do it on your own. Okay? I'll do another live stream another time about, what to expect in the first few sessions when I'm working with clients. That might help you get some understanding, help reduce the anxiety or fear you might have about starting. Okay? I'll definitely do that. I'll do that another time. Okay, so if you're a mother that's watching this live stream that made it to the end, okay, of this live stream, I commend you, because I know that I did say some difficult things. Okay, I've said some things that they're gonna make you feel uncomfortable. Okay, you are gonna feel uncomfortable, but I commend you for watching this live stream. I commend you for watching it. Okay, think about what's next. Okay, what's next is you start by doing your own work. That's the next step after this. Not phoning your daughter and do. You need to start thinking about doing your own work first. Okay. If you've got any questions about anything that I've shared, please send me a DM, or you can email me info@yardofgreatness.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I know that you don't have to wanted to have such a heavy conversation on a Saturday morning. Okay, but it's Mother's Day tomorrow, and it was important for me to get this message out to you. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. and I will see you next time. Lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.